I'm Marcus J. Richardson and welcome to Lad Reviews. Today's video is another Ken Burns and Lynn Novick documentary. I don't know if you saw the Vietnam War review I did, but go and check it out. Prohibition. Now in the UK you may have come across things like Boardwalk Empire, which was a kind of drama set in and around the Prohibition days in the southern states of America. Can't remember the exact state.
More fantastic research from Marcus J. Richardson.
Fuck you, Jeff. Put it this way, the Americans couldn't handle their booze and they had to ban it. Simple as that, really. American culture, to be fair, has involved alcohol for many, many years. I mean, like, since the beginning of the white man coming in and taking over and getting rid of the native Indian. Then they became alcoholics. Abraham Lincoln used to make and sell whiskey out of his cellar. So...
Oh, so maybe you did do some interesting research.
It was just in the documentary. Friday, they'd go to the saloon.
The pub.
Basically. And get smashed. They'd abuse the alcohol and then go home and abuse their family. Not a great combo. And after a while, all the women started teaming up together and going,
you know what? Fuck this shit. Let's sort this out.
So the women's crusade began. And with a little bit of help of the suffrage movement, eventually the women managed to get the tables turned. Pardon me. There were some really important roles that were then given to women, which was a first back then. And women's really started to gain some movement and some traction where alcohol was banned. You couldn't buy it, you couldn't drink it, all illegal.
I mean, they could buy it and they could drink it.
Yeah, alright, well let me get to that point then, penis face. Eventually, that did breed bootlegging. And bootlegging, well, was a bit dangerous. But before we get onto that, I just want to go back a little bit to the history, which you will learn more about when you watch it. But some of the most shocking things about alcohol is that actually doctors prescribed it to help with many diseases. Even, physicians said that you should drink it instead of some of the water, which was contaminated. Alcohol was possibly a little bit misunderstood, or maybe they didn't have the medication required and this was kind of a quick and easy substitute. So many people got addicted to it. There was more alcoholics than you could shake a penis at. Without the women trying to ban, the men would have never jumped on board. But why did the men jump on board? Well, interestingly, America was thriving, it was booming, and it needed people to help the country be built. So over came the Italians and the Irish, who enjoyed a drink. It was their culture too. But actually, a lot of the right-wing side of America did not like the influx of these immigrants, despite being immigrants a couple of generations prior themselves. White people in America, it's not actually your land. You stole it. Just remember that. You're immigrants too. They unfortunately were castigated and alienated, and basically the men pointed the finger at them, and Prohibition was pushed through. But for years and years, things went a little awry. You had, obviously, as we mentioned, thanks Jeff, bootlegging. And bootlegging was where people created their own alcohol for consumption and for sale. And you had people like Al Capone. Hey, what are you talking about?
That's not Al Capone.
It was just the sort of first thing that came into my head.
Oh, it's rubbish. Come on, mate. Pick up the game. Neither of us are going to have any watches here if you're not careful.
So Al Capone and his men, they kind of take over Chicago and create the storyline for so many films in the future. A lot of this was all because Prohibition happened, and if it hadn't happened, then the mob culture may not have been as big, certainly not as successful and as rich. Once the alcohol was obviously legalized, they then moved on to drugs and many other things, but at the end of the day, their growth and their size was because of Prohibition. They didn't want alcohol to be made legal again. They were actually kind of swaying people away from the removal of Prohibition. So it's a very interesting documentary, but for me, my problem with it is it's a little bit too long.
Another opportunity for a penis joke there.
I know, but we're throwing too many penises at the camera at the moment. Let's just remove the, penis from the hole.
So you did manage to get a penis joke in, but it wasn't the penis joke you could have made about length and girth and...
Oh, this is going too far now. This is a review about Prohibition. All right, let's carry on. I did enjoy it, but my problem was, as I say, a little bit too long. It's 3 episodes. It could have probably been 2. Still fascinating. Great insight into, some of American history. I know a lot of you do absolutely love America, so if you like booze, then it's a fun little story about alcohol. Political side note. They talk about not being able to change the amendment and the Constitution and all that because of the gun situation in America at the moment. Guns are bad, okay? And actually, they did. They changed the Constitution so that Prohibition was thrown out. It was the 22nd Amendment or something like that. But you know what? You can ban guns as well, America. So, I've been Marcus J. Richardson. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you soon.
Why do you always have to go political? Stop going political, man. This is not a political show.
Stop being man... Now, stop being right.